What's going on, guys? Cheesy here. So we have one Pro League site set up for every map. So I actually took these from a couple of Pro League games. So this first one was actually used against BDSM. GT used this in a final match over here in Supply Room and Laundry. So yeah, it's on Oregon, obviously. So the first thing you're going to do here is the most basic. We're going to make a little rotate into bunker and use a deployable just to get cover whenever they're trying to do a dirt take, and we could just fully cover it, as well as making a rotate between laundry and supply, and then making a like head holes right here looking into a laundry and reinforcing this wall, and then making head holes for freezer and reinforcing this wall. This is very crucial because if they're doing a freezer take, we can fully stop it just by using these head holes right here. And then this is actually kind of unique, so EU teams tend to do this a lot. They will make feet holes and not only just head holes. A lot of people only do head holes, but they'll make feet holes here on pillar side, so I feel like that's pretty cool. And over here in electric room, obviously reinforcing this hatch is crucial, and this wall making head holes right here and using 2 reinforcements right here. And then another thing I'm gonna show you guys is actually gonna be all the way up here in 1F. So right here, we're going to want to reinforce both these walls. The reason why we reinforce both these walls is just because it makes it harder for attackers to gain this hatch control. Because once they gain this hatch control right here, it's usually basically game over. And if they get it in the first minute, so I do advise to just reinforce both of these walls. It also makes it easier for your roamers. And then our last reinforcement over here is going to be on this hatch in lobby. Just a standard little reinforcement on a hatch, so it'll be easier for them to take storage. And yeah, let's move on to our next map, and that was Oregon. Okay, guys, so now over here in Clubhouse in Arsenal and Church. So with this, Koi used this against G2 in SI 2023. So I feel like Koi was one of the best teams then, and this is why I'm really taking this site setup from them. So first off, with Church, obviously we're gonna want to just reinforce these 2 walls right here, and instead of just only making head holes, also make sure you're able to vault over as well, because I feel like this is a really crucial thing when it comes to this, so we can rotate to Memorial quicker if you're doing a B take or anything. And then over here, with this whole thing right here, with getting into blue, we're gonna want to make a little rotate right here and a little rotate right here, and then reinforcing this middle wall and reinforcing this wall right here, and making a little head hole right here. I feel like this is really crucial to use in my opinion, just because you can get an angle on the stairs from anywhere basically, and I feel like it's just a cool little angle. And then making a little vault prompt right here is going to be good, and then little feet holes. And then I did reinforce all of dirt. I'm not even going to show you guys that, but another thing you guys want to do is make sure when you reinforcing this hatch up here in kitchen, make a couple of bullet holes right here, so we can either impact trick or they can't Habana trick it, right? Because if they Habana trick it, say they Habana just close to it, or thermite trick it, and they just put the thermite or Habana close to the reinforced hatch, it'll still blow up. So remember to do that. And obviously then we're gonna want to use our reinforcement up here as well on Memorial hatch. And then a big part of this whole site setup is going to be just controlling the whole map basically. And Koi used this very good. They used their last 2 reinforcements on these 2 walls in the bedroom hallway. And just using this, they're able just to control the whole top area. And I feel like that's a very big part of holding Church and Arsenal. Just controlling the top, so they can't get hatch control and below middle floor. So yeah, that's gonna be Clubhouse, and let's move on. Okay, guys, now over here on bank. So I'm gonna be using lockers and CCTV. So Rogue used this up against G2 in, I think it was the European League, so that's why I'm using it. But yeah, this is a really pro league heavy site setup. So if you're with a 5 stack and you want to get passionate with it, this is probably what you're gonna want your site setup wanting to look like. So first off, over here in lockers, just a little rotate into vault, just simple basic rotate, and then we're gonna want to make some little head holes over here on these staircases, just in case if the attackers want to attack this, we can just have a cool little angle on it, and reinforcing this wall right here. And then over here, just in vault, reinforcing that right there, that little hatch. And then making 2 rotates, one right here and one right here, and reinforcing this wall going into garage. and then reinforcing these two walls right here. Make sure when you're making head holes, make sure you're able to vault through it. And then just basic head holes right here. And then reinforcing this hatch and reinforcing this hatch. Now I know what you're thinking. No reinforcement on either of these CCTV walls, right? But the reason why Rogue set this up. So the reason why Rogue did this was because they were playing super roam heavy. So we're gonna want to reinforce that right up there as well, which is gonna be leading to square. So then this is like the fun part, I guess. So they would usually have 2 people roaming up top on top square. So they're gonna make head holes right here, leading into this main square door. They're gonna make feet holes right here. And they're also gonna reinforce this hatch. And then over here in closet, they're gonna reinforce this, make it rotate here, and to rotate here. The reason why they do this is because they're gonna be playing super top heavy. So they're gonna be playing for hatches basically. So if the attackers get the hatches, they're here to deny it and cut it off basically. And that's what basically this whole Rogue setup is for. And a lot of EU teams actually run this setup, even some NA teams. But yeah, it's a super interesting one here. You know, if you're wanting to get passionate, this is what you're gonna want to run. Real cool, real simple. But yeah, let's move on to our next map. Okay guys, now over here on Clubhouse. So this is a site setup that OXG actually used up against TSM and NAL. So it's a really cool one over here in Barn Gaming. It's obviously unique because it's in Barn Gaming. A lot of people probably don't usually see this in ranked. But first of all, the first thing we're going to do is reinforce this wall right here and make it rotate right here. This is going to be the only real rotate you're going to be able to use just because it's going to be the safest away from this window right here and this whole area. That's why I always say use it. And then make head holes all right here just to deny a plant or entry on this big window. And then reinforcing this wall and making head holes right here is going to be the main thing. But the big part of this whole site setup is going to be upstairs. And it just over here in main. So first thing you want to do is reinforcing these 2 walls and reinforce this hatch right here and also this hatch, making a couple of head holes on this big window right there, and then making head holes right here, as well as reinforcing off half wall walls, and then making a rotate into a bedroom. So we're basically going to be playing 2 sites in one. Just controlling all of top is going to be very crucial to really just hold the site, because if they get hatches, it's over, and it's going to be really hard for them just to attack the main site, just going in there like it's nothing, just because you have roamers everywhere. And I feel like it's just a super solid site setup that OXG used against CSM. But yeah, let's move on to our next map. Okay guys, now over here on Cafe in Bar and Cocktail. So Team Empire uses against TSM in an SI Grand Final, and this is a really unique site setup, I feel like. And the first thing that they did was reinforcing both these walls that lead over into Cigar Lounge and making a little head hole right here, and then making a rotate from bathroom into freezer, and then making a rotate from freezer to the hallway, and then breaking this hatch right here. And then they reinforce this wall, making a rotate, and then reinforcing this wall right here. And then that's basically all they did upstairs. And the last 2 reinforcements they ended up using was actually going to be downstairs with these 2. This is just for the roamers, and it's just making it harder for attackers to get reading control. And if roamers have reading control, that just means they can't walk up these stairs and this whole hallway basically, which is why Team Empire did this. But yeah, it's this whole site setup for this, and let's move on to our next map. Okay guys, now over here on Border and Armory and Archives. So Parabellum uses against SSG and NAL, so I feel like it's pretty cool, pretty unique, and very roam heavy and map control heavy. So that's why I'm really showing this. But for the first reinforcements, the 2 most basic reinforcements on this map, which is completely reinforcing main wall off and making little feet holes right here. And then we're going to be moving on towards this, where make a little rotate. Then in the hallway, we're going to want to reinforce this wall, and then make a rotate right here, and then reinforcing this wall and making a rotate right here, just so we have full control over break room and security, and it's just having map control over it. And then we're also going to want to reinforce this wall right here, just so we can watch this whole area right here, and then reinforcing this wall, reinforcing this wall just so we have full office control, and reinforcing this wall. But that's going to be it for this whole site setup. It's really cool that Parabellum did this. Really interesting site setup, the Pro League heavy site setup. And yeah, let's move on to our next map. Okay guys, now over here on Skyscraper for Karaoke NT. So Rogue used this against FaZe. So, and I just thought it was, again, unique against with these like European teams, always using these unique site setups. But first of all, with map control on this map, it's going to be very, very important. So the first thing they would do would, over here in VIP, they would reinforce VIP wall off completely. And then over here in office, they would reinforce this wall off and make a little rotate into lounge. Just having full control over that right there, which would lead into control over the site. With this hallway wall, they would reinforce this right here, make double feet holes on this, a mini rotate, and then reinforcing both these walls. And then they would also reinforce both of these walls as well, while they would also make a rotate into Geisha, reinforcing this and reinforcing that. Pretty simple, basic one here over here on Skyscraper, but it's a very EU heavy type of site setup. But yeah, let's move on to our next map. Okay guys, so now over here on Coastline, Sunrise, and Blue Bar. So this was used with an Empire versus TSM game. Empire used this one. So right off the bat, over here with full entrance, we're going to reinforce these two walls and reinforce this wall while making little feet holes here. And then making a vault prompt right here while reinforcing this wall, reinforcing this wall, and making head holes, while reinforcing this one and making a little mini rotate. And then making a bunch of little feet holes on this main blue bar wall, and then reinforcing both of these walls. And then another big part of this whole setup is reinforcing this hatch. And then over here in kitchen, we're going to want to reinforce this wall right here while making a little rotate into the service entrance. But yeah, the main point of this would be roaming upstairs. It's the best advice I could give you. I've watched the round back multiple times, and Empire is mainly playing up top just to avoid the vertical play. But yeah, let's move on to our final map. Okay guys, now over here on our last map, over here in Aviator in Games. So this was actually used against TSM versus Space Station in NAL. So yeah, I think it's really cool and it's a solid setup. So the first thing you want to do is reinforcing both these walls leading towards games, and then reinforcing this wall, making some little feet holes right here, and reinforcing this wall right here, making some feet holes right here. Then with this vault over here, we're going to reinforce this wall. And then over here, reinforcing this wall towards our right, making a little vault prompt here, and then a little rotate here. And then reinforcing this wall right here in Aviator while making little head holes. And then over here, we're going to actually want to place a deployable shield on top of this little map thing. And it's just super broken. Like, you would just have a full angle on this hallway and everything for red stairs and all that. And then reinforcing both these walls off right here. And they also reinforced this wall right here just for the roam and making it harder to roam clear. But yeah, that's going to be this video for today, guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy. This is more of a different video for site setups and Pro League site setups. But yeah, comment down below which one you guys like the best. And yeah, that's me, guys. Peace out.